Hey guys, I am back, officially back, a few months away. We are back and we are starting off strong with what I think is going to be one of the biggest winners at next year's Oscars coming up in 2024, and that is the sports drama Ironclaw. This movie came out in 2023. It's a sports drama. It's going to run 2 hours, 12 minutes, directed by Sean Durkin, starring Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White, and Harris Dickinson. So, this movie is about the Von Erich WWE wrestling family. And the tragedy that occurred to this family is insane to even fathom that this actually happened. When I first saw the trailer first, I didn't have any idea what it was about. I actually happened to see a behind outside the ropes or something, the Dark Side of the Ring documentary series on one of the streaming services. I forget which one, and found out about this family and the tragedy behind it. How this mom not lost not one, not two, not three, but four of her sons. Three of which I only knew about. I didn't know that the youngest one also died. Two died by suicide and one died from basically over exhaustion. And it's just this movie is just an absolute tragedy, but I also think it's an incredible sports film. And honestly, you don't even have to like or appreciate WWE to enjoy this film. The performances you get from Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White, I mean, my God, if Zac Efron is not nominated for an Oscar for this role, I never thought the guy from High School Musical, okay, which came out a long, long time ago, as we all know, would have this kind of role. He absolutely knocked it out of the park with his role, and he's the last standing brother, and you see the rise and fall of all of this entire family from their grassroots, where they started a wrestling company in Texas, out in the middle of Texas. I should have wrote down part Texas, but I didn't. Again, little rusty. I've not done this for a few months, so but you get to see the come up of that and how he meets the girl that becomes his wife, and you see just how hard the dad pushes these kids because he was a professional wrestler, and he just pushes them and pushes them and pushes them. And there's so much pressure and work and just push, 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 push. And of course, the mom's just like, yeah, that's the way your dad is, no problem. And you could just see the mental and physical toll it just takes on these characters as you're going through the film. Um, and honestly, it all stems to me. It's a weird thing. Like this is just like my kind of like theory. This whole thing stems from the Olympics getting canceled. I believe it was back in the 70s when the Olympics got canceled, like a long time. I think it was 70s or 80s. I did not write it down. I apologize. And the second oldest brother was on the Olympic team. He was going, I think he was doing shot put. So they canceled the Olympics, and he comes back home. It's Jeremy Allen White's character. He comes back home to wrestle with his brothers, and which is, Zac Efron's character, and then the other guy, again, forgot to write the guy's name down. I apologize. And basically, there's the two brothers wrestling now, and he comes back and he starts wrestling with them. They become the Iron Claw, which is like their finishing move. And basically, he comes back, and Zac Efron is trying to get his shot as the oldest son in the WWE to trying to get into the WWE. But then he sees all of his brothers get their shots, and they keep getting their shots, and he never really gets his. And so basically, the pressure mounts on him and the brothers because the one brother ends up getting like a heavyweight championship. He's going over to Japan to wrestle, and all the pressure and work that's put on him. He ends up dying. I think something like a ruptured like intestine or something, just something horrible. I think it was a ruptured intestine. Then you have Jeremy Allen White's character. The pressure then gets put on him. It's his turn to carry the family flag, essentially. The pressure gets put on him. He needs to do this. He gets the WWE Championship. And then, he's trying to, make the family proud. He goes out riding on a motorcycle after winning and has a motorcycle accident where he loses half of his leg. Then he spends months recovering. And then, of course, so after all that happens, the youngest brother is basically who doesn't want to even be in the wrestling at all. He wants to be a musician, which, that's what he wants to do. But the dad goes, no, you're going to wrestle. He has a horrible accident, has to have surgery, goes into a coma, comes back up, comes back out from it. He's all just mentally jacked up from the coma and the injury and the mental pressure. And he then goes and overdoses himself. Then you got Jeremy Allen White's character. The pressure gets too much to him. He ends up shooting himself from the family farm. And like Zac Efron is like finds like two of his brothers, and it's just like the whole story is just it's so just it really just it's a gut punch. It's so tragic, and you do get a happy ending at the end, but I'll get there. But and I also have to say the guy that they had playing Ric Flair, I don't know what that was. That didn't think it was that good. Um, I I don't know. I think that you could have found a better Ric Flair than what you got. But that's no offense to the guy that played him. You know, you got a role in a movie. I can't even say that. But again, I think they could have found a better. I guess they could have done a better job of projecting showing us Ric Flair. I just wasn't feeling it. As someone who knows what Ric Flair looks and sounds like, and I've watched wrestling in the past as a kid growing up, and I've seen highlights of Ric Flair, and it just to me it was kind of like it missed the mark for me. And again, you see Zac Efron's character, the oldest brother, who's carrying the burden of all this, and like the dad, and again, of course, the dad blames everyone else but himself the entire time. It's everyone else's fault but his the entire time throughout this entire just horribleness of like this tragedy. And this poor mother is dealing with one death after another because they're like within a couple of years of each other. These guys are just dropping. Like you're losing 4 sons in a lifetime. Like that's 4 kids just in general. It's just insane. And then Zac Efron again, his character, you feel just the sadness. And eventually, Zac Efron, he doesn't want his character. I forgot to write the names down. The oldest brother, he eventually, when he gets out of wrestling, he's just done with it. He ends up selling the company his dad built, I think, to WWE, and he gets out of it. And he goes and lives his life with his wife and kids, and then like he has this, and like the closing shot is on one of the closing shots. Honestly, like it's really good, but super sad. It's the scene where he's sitting there and he's watching his 2 kids play football, and then you see like a shot of it's Jeremy Allen White on a boat going down this river, and it's just quiet. And he pulls up, and he gets to this dock, and he sees his 3 brothers in the afterlife, essentially. And they said they've been waiting so long for him. And it was just like, then it cuts back to Zac Efron, and he's crying. And then it's just that whoever wrote this line that Zac Efron has, was just an absolutely incredible like screenwriting or whatever. Here's 2 kids or something about play nice with your brother, and they're like, yeah, and I forget the exact line, but he says something about he goes, yeah, I used to be a brother. And then his boys tell him, we're your brothers now. And I honestly, I started bawling my eyes out. Like that line really just it hit me here. Like I have an older brother, so like I can't even imagine the pain of something like that. I can't even imagine something like that even happening in my life, let alone 4 times. Again, and as I talk about in the film, he wasn't really around he wasn't old enough to recognize the first one, but still the other 3. It was a really damn good film, man. I can't say enough great things about Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White in this film. But to me, the showstopper was Zac Efron. I mean, I've said his name probably 35 times in this episode now. But again, if you haven't seen this film, or you have, just show someone this film if they haven't seen it yet. Go watch this film again. I plan to watch it again. It's not really a long movie, 2 hours and 12 minutes. They're with with the new Doom, which I think is like 2 hours and like 46 or 36 minutes. This is actually a pretty tight, quick story. And again, terrible tragedy. Again, if you want to find out more, like outside of the movie, again, I think it's Dark Side of the Ring. I think it's on Hulu, I believe. So it actually dives more into the story on that. But I did like the happy ending where you get to see like the oldest son who moved his wife and kids to a plot of land in Hawaii, and now they live there with their 13 grandkids in this plot of land. And I believe a couple of the kids are in wrestling in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what level. I think they're in WWE, but again, I didn't go into that far depth with it. So you did give a happy ending. He's living out his life in Hawaii with his 13 grandkids, his wife, his kids, and some of his kids are now into wrestling as well. So that was a good happy ending. Overall, out of 10, I'm giving it an 8.7. This movie was just knocked it out of the park for me. Again, really sad. I'm not a big fan of sad movies, but sometimes a film is this good, you just have to sit through it and appreciate the story that's being told to you. So again, I apologize. Again, I've been away for so long. Again, I know this one's a little rusty. We'll get back in the groove here over the next couple weeks. And I got another review coming for you guys next week, which will be Hitman. Until then, be good.